Hello folks, and welcome back to another video. This video would be the first of hopefully a new series being added to the channel for both sectors of content that I produce. Many other YouTubers have made videos similar to this on different topics, but I'm going to go ahead and dip my toes in that water and give my take on it. Starting with monster trucks, we are going to start ranking designs from worst to best. The truck that'll be kicking off this series is Avenger, as Avenger is the most well-known truck to have different designs, let alone different bodies. Avenger has ran a lot of bodies over its lifetime, and I think it's going to be fun ranking all of them from worst to best. Anyways, kick your shoes off and relax, grab some popcorn, some snackies, and a drink of your choice, and let's get started with the list. After counting them all up, I found that Avenger has used 32 different bodies throughout its lifetime, which is quite a lot. Starting at the very bottom of the list at number 32, we have the Avenger design that ran throughout the late 2000s. There is one particular reason why this design is at the bottom of the list, and that is the color green that Jim Kohler was using at this time. I'm not particularly sure what it was with this color, but this shade of green was kind of an ugly shade of green and didn't really fit the design of the truck that well, so that is the reason why the late 2000s Avenger design finds itself at the bottom of the list. Following the late 2000s design at number 31 is a more obscure paint job. This is the Global Avenger that ran at Tampa in 2021. I don't particularly know the backstory behind this specific paint job, but I have reason to believe it's tied to a sponsorship. While this paint job is miles ahead of the late 2000s era Avenger, this particular paint job, it's a little too simple for me. I do like the style of text that Jim Kohler used for the Avenger name on the side, but I also like the globe that's behind it, but quite frankly, this design is just too simple and it finds itself near the bottom of the list. At number 30, we have our first World Finals paint scheme to look at, and it's actually one of the ones I got to see in person. This is the Music City style Avenger from World Finals 22 in Nashville, Tennessee. When I was standing in line for the pit party next to this truck, I liked the color choices and the graphics. It kind of gave like an Indiana Jones vibe to me, but quite frankly, the more you look at it, the more you realize how simple the design really is. The lack of graphics on this truck, except for the music notes in the name Avenger, as well as the skull with the Indiana Jones style hat, when you look at it, there really isn't too much to this design. The idea behind it is cool, but it could have been executed a little bit better, and that's why it finds itself near the bottom of the list. At number 29, we have our first Avenger to look at that ran throughout the main season. This is the original paint job on the Chevy Bel Air body that ran between 2002 through 2007. When Jim Kohler debuted this design on the Bel Air body, the colors complemented each other nicely with the teal rims, the dark green body, the yellow flames. It's nice, but there were some things that needed to come together first before you really get my attention when it comes to a paint scheme for a monster truck. At number 28, we have a more recent design for Avenger. This one in particular was the one that Jim Kohler used for one weekend at Lucas Oil Stadium in 2023. This is one of the relatively few times that Jim Kohler deviates from using the Bel Air or the S10 body for Avenger. This is using a 1971 Chevy C10 body with a design that's similar to an overboard truck, although it has the word Avenger on the side instead. We are starting to get into the designs that are good, but the reason why this one is relatively low on the list is because it looks way too similar to an overboard truck, but I would have to commend the effort that Jim Kohler put into this design, so that's why it's a little higher than it would be otherwise. At number 27, we have a World Finals paint scheme, that being the one that ran on Avenger at World Finals 13 in 2012. This is a unique design for Avenger, although the main base color, which is yellow, which is not the best color that you can use, kind of holds this scheme back from all the other ones we'll be seeing here in a little bit, and we didn't really get to see this paint scheme all that much in 2012 at the World Finals, because he got knocked down in round 1 of racing and had a relatively short freestyle run, but I do have to commend the effort on this one too. At number 26, we have the original Avenger paint scheme, this time on the S10 body, that ran between 2000 and 2001 throughout the main season, also at the World Finals too. If I'm being honest here with the original Avenger design, I think the design in particular fits the S10 body a little bit better than the Bel Air body. I know that might be considered a hot take to some, but for your first design, this is pretty good, and like I said earlier, the green and the yellow kind of fits the S10 body better than the Bel Air body, so this is why the original design finds itself higher than the one that came after it. At number 25, we have the modern day Avenger. This is what Avenger usually looks like throughout the season, and honestly, the lighter shades of colors with the orange and the green captures the iconic look of Avenger really well. Since this is the default design, if you're thinking about Avenger, like if somebody says Avenger, this is probably the one that you're going to be thinking of if it's not a World Finals design. At number 24, we have another World Finals design. This one in particular was ran in 2015. In terms of the execution of this design, I think Jim Kohler did a really good job on this one, using a more neutral color as the base, and using more brighter colors within the design underneath the Avenger name to get your attention. This particular design is really good, however, there are definitely more better designs coming up here in a little bit, so the 2015 design finds itself a little higher than it would be otherwise if the execution wasn't that great. At number 22, we actually have a controversial design, this one being the Junkyard Avenger that ran at the 2016 World Finals. The opinions on this particular design are split down the middle between liking it or absolutely despising it. As for me, I think this is actually a decent design. This design on the 1957 Chevy Bel Air stands out with the different colorations of the roof, the body, the fenders, the rust effects. It's a unique design, and honestly, I think this design deserves a little more credit than it gets. At number 22, we have a paint scheme that nobody really talks about. This is the Neon Green Avenger that ran at World Finals 9. A lot of people were led to believe that Jim Kohler did not do a special design for that particular year for the World Finals, but it turns out that the Neon Green was a special design that was only ran for 2008 at the World Finals, highly regarded as one of the best World Finals of all time. I actually own the deluxe DVD set that this truck is featured in, and as for the design itself, the neon green was actually a good choice for Jim Kohler to use on his truck, and it actually was a precursor to what the modern day Avenger looks like today, so at number 22, I think it's a good spot for that. At number 21, we have Avenger Stars and Stripes, which ran at the most recent World Finals in Salt Lake City. The American flag on the Chevy Bel Air body is really cool. However, the stripe pattern behind the stars pattern could have been executed a little bit better, so that is the reason why Avenger Stars and Stripes finds itself a little bit lower than it would be otherwise. If the stripe pattern was a little bit better in the execution, it would find itself a little bit higher. Despite that minor critique, this is a decent design nonetheless. At number 20, we have the very first special Avenger that was ever created, that being the Orange Avenger that ran at World Finals 5 in 2004. If you compare this special paint scheme to the normal paint scheme that Jim Kohler was running at the time, you can basically say that these are inverses of each other. The shade of orange used on this truck was actually really cool. This is one of my personal favorites. It could be a little bit higher, but number 20 in my eyes is a good spot for this scheme. At number 19, we have a similar design to the orange truck that you just saw, but this is the split paint job that ran at World Finals 6. When it comes to a paint scheme for your monster truck, this is an out-of-the-box idea with your normal design on one side and then the special design on the other side. It is also important to mention that this scheme has recently resurfaced within the last couple of years. Since this was a good paint scheme to use back in the day as well as now, and really hasn't been duplicated that well with other split designs I've seen, this is the reason why this paint job finds itself at number 19. At number 18, we have the 20th Anniversary Avenger that ran throughout the 2017 season. When it comes to bringing back an old design but using the modern elements, this was good in execution. The lighter green color on the S10 body, in my honest opinion, fits really nicely. That alone puts this design far above the other ones that Jim Kohler used throughout the season, and this scheme has also come back sporadically throughout the 2020s as well. At number 17, we have another unique one. This is the Avenger that ran at the 2018 World Finals with the Chevy Nomad body. This was another time when Jim Kohler would deviate from using the Bel Air or the S10 body for Avenger. The Chevy Nomad body was a unique choice to use at this World Finals, and unfortunately, the 2018 World Finals was the only time that this body ran. If this body used a different color aside from the green, this would find itself a little bit higher, but it's in the middle of the pack, and I think that's a good spot. At number 16, here is the Purple Avenger that ran at the 2014 World Finals. I really like the shade of purple that was used on this truck, in addition to the white/silver flame design. That complements the base color really well. This is also another one of my personal favorites, but we got much better paint schemes coming here in the later spots, so let's keep going. Moving right along to number 15, we have the Steps Towing Red, White, and Blue Avenger that ran at World Finals 20 in Camping World Stadium. The best part about this design, it's actually not the same on either side. The left side is red and white, while the right side is a blue color. To do a split paint job that has an American feel, this was executed really well, and it finds itself just past the halfway mark, so let's keep going. Sitting at number 14 is another fan favorite, that of which being the Chrome Avenger that ran at World Final 7. If you want to use a very fancy base color to get the viewer's attention, Chrome is a really good choice. While this scheme was only ran for 1 year and admittedly didn't last very long at the World Finals, this is another really good design that's finding itself close to the top 10. At lucky number 13, we have the first Candy Apple Red Avenger, that of which being the one that Jim Kohler would win his second World Freestyle Championship in. Aside from the World Championship this truck won, what made it iconic was the Candy Apple Red base color, complemented very nicely by the yellow flame stickers. This is a very pretty paint job, and I have vivid memories of watching it on TV as Jim Kohler won his World Freestyle Championship that year in 2011, but there's one that's very similar to it that I like a little bit better than this one. At number 12, we have another recent design. This is the 2024 Detroit Lions Avenger that ran in the namesake town that year. When I first saw pictures of this design, I thought it was an iteration of another blue design which we'll be seeing here in a little bit, but this is something completely different. The silver flame stickers complement the light blue base color really well, and the best part about this design is that the skull is actually wearing the helmet of the Detroit Lions football players. Considering that this is a design that Jim Kohler only ran for one weekend, sets it apart when it comes to the specialness and the rarity of this design, and that's why it finds itself very close to the top 10. We are not into the top 10 quite yet, but at the number 11 spot is another really pretty paint job, that being the second Candy Apple Red Avenger that ran at World Finals 14. The orange, green, and blue stripes definitely complement the sparkly red color on this truck really nicely. It also gives hints to another independent team at the time, which was Jamie Garner's team. It kind of gives you like a sneak preview of what that team would become later on in the 2010s. So this is definitely a pretty design and definitely worthy of just being outside the top 10. We are just now inside of the top 10, and this is the final Avenger that we will be looking at that runs throughout the regular season. This is the modern-day dark green Avenger. In my opinion, for this truck, which has quite a few different designs, for one that's running in the regular season, this is the best one that you can get. This is sort of to pay an homage to the original designs that this truck had during the beginning, but giving it a modern taste. Honestly, the dark green that Jim Kohler recently started using for this design fits it a little bit better than the much darker shades of green that Jim Kohler used previously. That is why, in my personal opinion, this iteration of the dark green Avenger is the best one that you could see running throughout the main season. At number 9, we have another unique design. This is the Graffiti Avenger that ran at the World Finals in SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. If you wanted to capture the culture of the town that your events are being held at, this is definitely one of the most unique designs you can come up with. The special graffiti-style stickers for the name, as well as the sponsor stickers on this truck, definitely give off the culture of what Los Angeles is. It makes it look like that it was sitting out in a junkyard somewhere before being cut up, and somebody sprayed a bunch of graffiti, some really cool graffiti at that, on the specific design. One spot above that design at number 8 is the 25th anniversary Avenger that ran in 2022 at the World Finals, as well as some of the summer shows later that year. This is a pretty simple design when it comes to an anniversary truck, but actually, the simplicity of this design is what makes it work. The best part about this truck, aside from the stainless steel look, as well as the photographic history of the truck inside the logo, is the fact that the flames are actually glow in the dark. I didn't know it at the time, I found it out later after the fact, but that's what makes this truck really pop and definitely stand out from some of the other anniversary designs we've seen this truck run over its lifetime. Coming in at number 7 is a fan favorite. This is the blue Scuba Avenger that ran at World Finals 10. This paint scheme on this truck definitely captures Jim Kohler's unique personality, where he likes to jump into the pool after every freestyle run. The skull on the side has the scuba mask, the flame stickers look more like waves than flames. This is just a really solid paint scheme through and through, and has definitely grown on fans over the years as Jim Kohler used it throughout his independent endeavors, aside from the World Finals that this scheme was featured in. At number 6, here is Avenger Fire that ran at the All-Star Challenge in 2019. While this truck is still using the classic Chevy Bel Air body, all of the graphics on the black body makes this feel different. You got a very scary skull on the side of the truck. The flame stickers look like they're actually flames instead of stickers. The logo is a chrome-ish color with shadows in it. Almost everything about this truck makes it one of the best of all time. And since it's getting close to the top 5, we are definitely getting into some of the best Avenger bodies of all time. Alright, we're in the top 5, and we are starting off the top 5 with a good one. This is the special 20th anniversary Avenger that ran at World Finals 18. This truck was basically an instant hit once it hit the track. The fancy green color that was used on this design was a good choice. The flame design is also a good choice. The skull kind of has like a 2D/3D feel to it. Almost everything about this truck is just perfect. Now, I'm talking about this design like it should deserve the #1 spot, and honestly, it does, but there are at least 4 more designs that are almost just as perfect as this one here. At number 4, this is the second iteration of the Detroit Lions design for Avenger. This is the alternate jersey design that the Detroit Lions uses, but honestly, with this particular design to sort of pay an homage to the football team, this one fits better. The blue flames on the black body with the blue beadlocks give this truck a mean look. When you see this truck hit the track with this design, Jim Kohler means business. Alrighty folks, we are in the top 3, and I wonder how many people thought that this would take the bronze medal spot. This is the 2025 Halloween Avenger. This truck is based off of a limited edition Halloween design that Spin Master used for the diecast line, and this year, Jim Kohler decided to bring it to the real circuit, and whatever ideas he had to bring it to the real circuit were great. Avenger Fire captured the spooky aspect of the design really well, but honestly, the Halloween design on this truck fits the spooky aspect better, with the spider webs, the skull, the actual spider next to the Avenger name, the red headlights. This is definitely a design that goes out of the box, and that alone is why the Halloween Avenger takes the bronze spot. At number 2, taking the silver medal, is Avenger Nitro that ran at the Superstar Challenge in 2023. This design is very similar to the purple design that Jim Kohler used in 2014, but in my opinion, this one is better than the other purple design. It added some seasoning to it, I guess you could say. The black accents on this truck are really good, but the major selling point to this particular truck and why it takes the number 2 spot is the purple. The shade of purple that Jim Kohler used for this design, I just love it. I just plain love it. It doesn't get any simpler than that. And finally, the design that takes the gold medal is the 2010 World Finals Rat Rod Avenger. The gothic design of this truck hits the nail right on the head. This design is a fan favorite, and I can understand why. Jim Kohler knocked it out of the ballpark when he came up with this design, and I'm really glad that he is still using this design today. Aside from this absolutely perfect design, this truck also has some personal significance to me. When I met Jim Kohler for the first time, I had an old 1/24 scale version of this truck made by Hot Wheels, and he signed the roof of that truck. And I still have it to this very day, although unfortunately you can't really see the signature that well anymore. The reasons that I have listed for this truck definitely makes this the best Avenger design of all time, and nobody can change my mind of that fact. There you have it, folks. That is my list from worst to best, every Avenger body. Let me know down in the comments section what you agree or disagree with, and let me know what you think is the worst or best Avenger design. If you enjoyed this video, consider checking out some other ones of mine. Leave a like or a comment down below to share your thoughts. Subscribe if you're new, and tap the notifications bell if you want to be notified when a new video gets posted here on the channel just like this. Till next time, this is All Ohio Railfan, signing off.